In this video, we'll cover the midweek action that took place this week, which there was in the English Premier League and in the Serie A. Let us begin with the Premier League. First, Liverpool completely dominated Newcastle at Anfield. They dominated possession, chance creation, and passing, as well as the flow of the match. 11 minutes and Dejan Lovren scored to make it 1-0. In the second half, Newcastle completely collapsed under the pressure. In the 47th, Mohamed Salah scored from the spot, which I admit is a little unusual to see him take Liverpool's PKs. In the 79th, Shaqiri scored to make it 3-0. Only for 6 minutes later, substitute Fabinho scored to cap off the day, 4-0 for the hosts, Liverpool. And Liverpool's defense kept another clean sheet in their brilliant defensive run, headed by Van Dijk. This is a great run of form heading into January 3rd, as they only have one more match before the big match day against Manchester City. Next, we have Tottenham versus Bournemouth. Once again, Tottenham had another high-scoring victory, this time against Bournemouth. It didn't seem that dominant in the match. Bournemouth even had more shots than Tottenham. Heung-min Son continued his run of form, has grabbed a second brace in a row, and he's also scored the last 3 matches. Bournemouth against Bournemouth, Everton, and Arsenal. The other 3 goals came from Eriksen, Lucas, and Harry Kane. This is a very important win. Not only are they putting pressure and going up on the table, but also it shows that they can win and they can keep winning and score plenty of goals. For a team like Tottenham, it's important to establish themselves. And the more wins they get like this, and the more they play well against the top 6 teams, the better it is for Tottenham. Now, the shock of the week, Leicester City versus Manchester City. After losing to Crystal Palace last week, some people said Manchester City would be smacked around at Leicester, and indeed they were. Once again, they had dominated the possession and scored first, just like against Crystal Palace. In the 14th, Silva put City ahead, only for Albrechtsson for Leicester to score 5 minutes later. Similar to Crystal Palace, in the 81st minute, Pereira gave Leicester the lead. In the 89th, Delph was sent off for a very rash tackle. Just like that, defending champions have dropped 6 points in 2 matches. They already lost more games than last season, and we're only halfway through the season. Manchester City are in trouble and makes the match on January 3rd a must-win. I mean, they've dropped more points in the last few days than they've dropped the whole last season. I mean, last season they only lost twice, once to Liverpool and once to Manchester United in the league. As things stand in England halfway through the season, Liverpool are top and undefeated with 51 points. Tottenham second at 45 points. Manchester City third with 44 points, and Chelsea are fourth with 40 points. With the way things stand, Manchester City have to beat Liverpool. Even if Liverpool were to lose to Arsenal and City were to be on top, or the top, their next match, which is against Southampton, and then Liverpool were to lose to Manchester City, Manchester City still wouldn't have a lead. They'd still be behind them. And I think that Tottenham are showing very great improvements as now they're second. However, soon they'll lose Heung-min Son, who's obviously a player for South Korea, as he will go to compete in the Asian Cup 2019, which will be held in the United Arab Emirates. We will have some Asian Cup coverage as it's international football. It's important. So we'll semi-cover it, we'll cover the later stages. We'll keep you updated on the news of the group stage. We'll do post-match for some games. But I know that it's similar to the Bundesliga. We have a team that's not the favorites to win, have a lead, which in this case Liverpool, and Germany it's Dortmund, and then the team that's supposed to win, Manchester City, in this case, or in Germany's case, Bayern Munich, are behind by several points. Can Manchester City come back? They're still favorites, so especially after this. You might say it's a 50-50, and the most important match will be January 3rd. If Liverpool beat Manchester City on January 3rd, people will have trouble arguing that Manchester City will come back. And we've seen in the past, every time that Pep Guardiola has chased the league, he's lost. Wherever he's chased, he's lost. So it's going to be interesting to see how well he does. and we'll dedicate a separate video for the January 3rd clash between Manchester City and Liverpool. We'll have its own post-match analysis. Now to Serie A in Italy. Atalanta versus Juventus. To my surprise, Atalanta were very organized as they stood up to undefeated Juve. The match was, a very tight match, and it took a while for both teams to get really into it. Except for the own goals. 2 minutes in, an own goal from Atalanta gave Juventus the lead. Then Atalanta managed to score 2 goals in the 24th and 56th minute to give them a 2-1 lead against Juventus. 3 minutes prior to Atalanta taking the lead, Betten, I'm not sure about his name, was sent off and shown a red as Juve were reduced to 10 men. Ronaldo came on and Juve in the 65th minute, and only to score the goal to give Juventus some points in the 78th minute and to keep their undefeated streak alive. This is the second time Juve have dropped points, both times being draws. I think it's still impressive that they're still undefeated, and I think that's going to be the goal for Allegri. It's easy for Juve. They walk the league every season, but if they can go undefeated for an entire season, that would be a very big deal if Juve can go undefeated. But his main goal, obviously, is the Champions League. Second and third place met in the Serie A. It was a very tight match as well, where Inter Milan edged out their opposition as Napoli failed to take advantage of a rare drop of points from the leaders. For Napoli, Koulibaly and Insigne were both sent off late in the match. This would be the main talking point of the match, however, as Koulibaly, the Napoli man, was a victim of racial abuse on multiple occasions from the Milan crowd. This included monkey noises directed at him, as well as other racial actions. 3 times, Napoli complained to the referee, and the referee would warn the fans 3 times in the loudspeaker. However, none of the refs decided to suspend the game as it's supposed to. What was supposed to happen was, after the first warning, if it continues, they suspend the match for a given amount of time, and then they resume the match later on to help to keep the racist crowd down. Carlo Ancelotti, the manager for Napoli, said if something like this would happen again to one of their players, they wouldn't play, even if it means forfeit. At the end, however, in the 91st minute, Inter Milan would score to win the match, but they're still third in the Serie A, and Napoli are still second. I think that it's very important to take a major stand against racism. Racism has no place in football. Racism has no place in the world, and the game, especially for a global game, needs to see that it's a global sport. The Inter fans were chanting things at Koulibaly, which personally they should be suspended, I think, from entering the stadium, as we've seen with the Raheem Sterling case earlier, where he was called a, quote, a black followed by the C word against Chelsea. I think they need to take a stronger stance against racism. Racism should not be tolerated in football, nor should it be tolerated in anything in the world. As things stand in the Serie A, Juventus are top and undefeated on 50 points. Napoli follow with 41 points. Inter Milan third with 36 points, and Lazio are fourth with 31 points. That's all for today's video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Paperball rolling out.